Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video. And this is some seriously highly intellectual and spiritual shit that a lot of us, with ear-to-ear smirks on our faces, lay awake at night considering these really heavy intellectual as well as spiritual truths and philosophies that kind of are in your head. This is similar to videos that I've talked about giving a rat's ass, right? How can you give a rat's ass? This is when the ass of the rat is, it belongs to the rat. You don't give the rat permission. You can pick up the rat ass first and offer it up to somebody. With you're not giving a rat's ass before you give it. You're offering it up and all that shit. You can try to give a rat's ass, but this is another one about another expression that's similar to that I've used in text, counter text comments and to people. It's similar to about whether a fuck should be given or not, but giving a rat's ass. This one is about giving a fraction of a shit. And I can tell you the meaning, the highly intellectual and spiritual meaning about giving, whether you should consider giving a fraction of a shit. And there's problems associated with even the idea you may consider, like anything somebody says to you, whether you should give a fraction of a shit. And to me, this would be like, maybe you want to go back to school, like whether it's a community college or somewhere, brush up on math. Say if you were never good in the real hard math, right, back in school, you may want to go back to an old, for one thing, I'm jokingly saying that this neighborhood I moved back into after a lot of years. I lived here when I was a teenager, way back when my mother and stepdad first got married. And it would be like jokingly consider and say, I go to this school, in a joking sense, not that I'd really do it, or go to a college and see if any of my old teachers of math are still there, or go to find out where they live, go to their house and say your old teacher's retired. I'll be like, hey, sorry I wasn't so good in school, or was a problem in school, right? But I have this problem. And you would do this because I am proposing to you that, say you want to consider somebody says something to you about you and you want to give a fraction of a shit, right? You'd be going to this person, because it would be involving going back to where adding, subtracting, and multiplying and dividing fractions. In some case, I would consider to you that this would, since I'm such a smartass this way, you would have to literally go back to that old math that, oh, I couldn't really stand. What would you need it in life? Another thought that I forgot to put in here, so I'm going to splice this in here too, because there's so much in this subject. It dovetails in that colorful expression. Okay, let's cut the crap here, okay? And you may actually have to tell people, how you tell people, let's cut the crap, about, you tell somebody whether you should give a fraction of a shit, right? And then you're talking to somebody and say, let's cut the crap. I would propose to you, you'd go to an old math teacher to learn adding, dividing fractions, because giving a fraction of the shit, you're telling somebody, okay, hey, let's cut the crap here. Don't give me your bullshit. And it's like, it would be almost in a literal sense, if you want to talk fractions and giving a fraction of a shit, or let's cut the crap, take a piece of dog shit and you want to divide it up and say, okay, what fraction of a shit or what fraction of a crap, when should I even give as much as a fraction of a shit or a crap? And when you break it down to the fractions, how many pieces would you be literally cutting? And how, I mean, the fraction, this is saying that you say, let's cut the crap. You divide it into how many possible pieces you can, and what fraction, what minor fraction of a crap should be given. This is heavy philosophy here, I'm telling you. We'll see if those teachers ain't retired yet, right? or go to a college professor, and you may have a picture in your head, maybe in a cartoonist pictures in your head, maybe the professor that starred with Michael J. Fox in the Back to the Future movies, because you may be watching like the quantum physics and relevance of time, and you may parallel universes and parallel existences and parallel stuff involved in your head. So you would literally have to go back to your teachers and learn bring back the math you couldn't stand, about maybe dividing and multiplying fractions in math. And then you would have to you'd be going to these teachers, they'd be looking at you like you're gone completely batshit insane and what's wrong with you. The reason why you want to go back to learning math, this would be the first reasoning they would hear from anybody else, because they think you're crazy. Other reasons, you say you tell a teacher you want to go back and learn math and pick the fractions, and you'd be telling them, oh, I'm considering how people say shit about you and have their negative opinions, right? And I'm considering whether I should give a fraction of a shit. So I'm coming to you, after maybe you're a retired math teacher, right, and say, oh, I'm proposing this to them. They'd be looking at me like, it would be shit that they never heard before. They might somewhere be like, I can picture this, a teacher from back when I was in school, maybe retired or something at their house. They might say, you know what, are you feeling okay? Or something like that. I'll be like, no, I'm perfectly fine. And they might even start laughing about it and humor you, even if they don't like swearing or something. You may have to, instead of saying giving a fraction of a shit, give a fraction of maybe a damn, or giving a fraction of, like, that way. I mean, in a weird way, this is like highly heavy and philosophical kind of stuff here. And you can see where these highly intellectual professors in a big university. Could be a legitimate study in a university where you've got these professors that know all this algebra. There's going to be algebra involved, and this could be the crazy shit where if you believe whatever God you believe in, that only gods and demons and spiritual beings literally are on a chalkboard and with professors somewhere in the afterlife arguing these intellectual theories. I mean, this can literally dovetail and cross paths with quantum physics, like I said, and the things in the universe like parallel universes that exist out of parallel ideas and parallel thoughts. And a lot of the shit that atheists might say don't even exist. There's no physical existence thereof. But since all our minds are literally avenues, even though our heads, like my head is only this big, there's bigger avenues in there, you know what I mean? The endless avenues, your head and brain is only so big, but yet there's a proof in a way, like the parallel universes, like expanded thought thereof, and head is only this big, but there's endless avenues. I mean, it's almost like how people can literally, all these avenues thereof, people were able to create worlds in their video games and every damn thing else, and be writers. And I mean, this is like really like heavy intellectual shit, I'm telling you.